Good morning. We're looking at my chainsaw. We had a big tree fall across the driveway the other day, and I came to get this chainsaw and I could not get this saw started. My left arm is killing me from pulling on it. And I came to the conclusion that the carburetor was not working. And just to prove I ain't the cheap man that many of you might think I am after watching the starter video, I will, at times, spend a little money when it's necessary. But I've had this chainsaw since 1994, and that's the first time it wouldn't start on me. It's a Poulan. Look at that. Made in USA. Poulan, whatever you want to say. 1994. It's 18-inch. 2,500, 2.5 cubic inches. But this has been a very, very good saw for me. I almost went to Lowe's and bought another one. But I got a little setup here on my workbench. And I'm going to put you guys in the pant device and we're going to tear this saw apart. Looks like we need a standard screwdriver. And if I remember correctly, a 5/32 Allen wrench. So let me get you propped up here. All this other stuff you see around here, this garbage, is projects in motion. That's what we'll call it, projects in motion. So I'm going to squeeze you up here, like this threaded rod here. Filter for a gas tank. Oops. It's all projects in action. So I'm going to remove this top cover here and get access to this thing, and I'll be right back. Well, that didn't take long. Probably didn't even need to remove you. So that was just 3 screws holding that cover in place. Now we got to remove this air filter. Oh. Your saw is probably going to be a little bit different. But this is a Poulan. There. And then if you see if I can position you a little better. We'll zoom in here. Right here and here. We got to take these 2 screws out and get rid of this piece of plastic and get access to the carburetor. I'm going to do that and be right back. Okay, I removed this because my angle of attack here, I didn't like it. These 2 screws hold the carburetor on. So I wanted to be able to get this out of my way a little bit and make some room so that I could get into this screw here and we could remove that screw. I get the funny feeling I'm going to have the room anyways. That screw was not going to come out of there and clear it with this this in the way. So let's pull this out of here. That cable went right in here and fed around here. The insulated part was inside this piece of plastic. So now we're at the carburetor. Let me see if I can position you a little differently so you can see what I'm doing. If my contraption don't fall apart here. This is the throttle cable. This blue knob right here, where are you at? This blue piece of plastic right here is the, I'm going to take you out and show you. That's the choke. That's the choke lever right there. Goes back here. You pull it in, pull it out. See, it's just a little piece of plastic with spreads apart and grabs a hold of this arm. I'm just going to put a screwdriver in here and pop him out of there. I may not even need the screwdriver. See if I can do this one-handed. Probably should have a smaller screwdriver. There. Oops. Popped him right out of there, see? No big deal. Now all we got is the throttle cable. And it goes in there. One of them little Z hooky fellas. One of those, you've seen them. And then we got to remove the hose. Look at there, it pinched the line. But we got to remove this fuel line and then put the new carburetor back and reverse the procedure. But the reason I'm making this is one more thing. Let me put you on pause here for a minute and get you set up again. That's why I put the cardboard here, because when I pulled this line off, the fuel starts running out of this thing. This can be very difficult to do, but quite honestly, I had it off the other day and it's no big deal. Removing that gas line. All right, let me show you something here. Let me get this line blocked off here. The model number on these carburetors is right there, WT, right here, WT289. That's the number I used when I ordered this carburetor right here. This appears to be pretty darn close to being the exact same thing. This is this black thing is hiding these two screws. So yeah, this is the same carburetor. Goes together and comes apart a little differently. But this new one has no identifying marks on it anywhere. I scratched with this thing. WT289 in there, because if this saw's performance goes like it did before, I'll never remember what number was on the original carburetor. And so I got to get this black plastic piece off of this one, get it installed on this one, reassemble this thing, just reverse of what we just did, and then we'll start it up. Cross our fingers and start it up. You got two screws here, low and high, you know, idle, max, and we'll adjust that in there and wish me luck, because I really like this chainsaw. I'm going to put this back together and show you the saw running. Okay, I plucked these components off of the other carburetor. This is kind of a piece of rubber. It just, it didn't put up too much of a fight. I just pulled it right off of there. No big deal. I'm going to put it on the other one. These two things are for limiting the amount of adjustment you can put on these screws. I'm going to put them back in there. Sometimes I'm not going to want them in there, but if I get the saw adjusted right, then I'll know the condition of it when it's brand new. You can choose to leave these off. But they do seem to keep a lot of debris out of the inside here. So I'm going to put them back on there. And get the carburetor mounted, and I'll come right back. I might be leaving you out of an important step here. Once again, you got to restring this. This piece of plastic here, I forgot. It came with a new one. But you see, it doesn't have the guide for holding the cable in place. This cover, the new filter, may work, may not work. It's a problem with buying stuff these days. We'll have to figure it out. But you got to get this thing like this, have that hooked in over here, and then this cable, you actually got to put the cable in here, shove it all the way forward, and then hook this in. You need one more hand. But I only got two today. Like that. And then when you pull the trigger, it's guiding along this thing right here. See if I can zoom you in a little bit. Let me move this thing. Right there. Hooked in here, goes through here, clips in here. Now you have to manipulate this thing in such a way it's going to want to twist around like this. This is the pain in the butt I had the other day. And goes in like that. This is the reason I removed all this. These screws were sticking out too much to get this thing reassembled correctly. I put my new gasket back there. It's on locating pins. All right, I need both hands. I'll be back. Okay, let me point one more thing out to you here. Back up a little bit. Here's the gas line. Let me find a pointer. Here's the gas line. Right here. Going into the carburetor. Most of these tools that use this will have a little travel path for that gas line. And that must have been how it got pinched. I didn't have it in there properly. Like I said, a tree fell. I was in a hurry. Umpty, umpty, umpty. So make sure you do that right. And then reconnect. Let me back up. Reconnect any linkages you may have over here, wherever they are. And we'll continue reversing the procedure here. And I'm going to put this thing back together the rest of the way, and we'll attempt to start it. All right, hang in there. Looks like I'm going to have to reuse this old filter. These screws don't line up. This new one just doesn't work. So until I get a new one, I'm going to reuse this old one. But I wanted to point something out. This is plastic, you know, plastic and metal. If you're putting in a screw and it isn't going in easy in the beginning, you can get it in there. But if you're really torquing down on it, you've got it in the wrong spot. It'll go, but you'll tear the thread up. You'll tear the mating piece up. Because these screws will cut their own way through there. That screw will just make a whole new thread in this piece right here, and you'll tear it up. So when you're putting something back together, you know, there's no hurry. Once is fast enough. It's like a spark plug. Run it in there by hand. And once you know that it's going in the right way and not cross-threading on you, it should only get hard at the very end. And then, you know, it's plastic. Don't wrench down on it. You're screwing into aluminum. When it feels good, stop trying. Stop turning it. All right, we'll be back. Okay, I run into a bit of a snag. I'm going to bring you back into this rather than just do it off camera and pretend I put this together absolutely flawlessly. But the way this used to work is I would pull this choke out, and then it would stay out until I hit the trigger. But if you see, I can't even, it won't even come out. It immediately pops back. So there's something in this saw, in the reassembly of it, that's binding, because if I hold this over like this, come on, where's it at? Let me take these two loose. Just backtrack everything that you did. Something is just not quite right in our reassembly. Just got to backtrack, you know, take it back apart and look it over again. Something is out of whack. Appears to be in this part. I didn't take this off. Maybe my spring is in the wrong spot. This one. Maybe that thing's got to be rotated in a certain way. Can you see that? It doesn't like something I did. Ain't too sure exactly what it was, but okay, I'm going to continue with reassembling it, and I'll be right back. I found the problem. I don't know if you can see this or not. This part right here sets down here in this little recess right here. It has a spring in it. But this little piece right here, you can mount that in there any way. It'll go like that and go together, or it'll go like that and go together. But this, I don't know if you can tell it or not, the height of this right here is not the same. So even though you can mount it both ways, this thing is not the same this way or this way. It looks that way, but apparently it's not. Or I got the thing cockeyed when I bolted it together. Okay, be back in a minute. Okay, we're back. This is working. I just gave this thing a little bit of a start and forgot that you guys were watching. You were here with me. So, the procedure here on the saw says, move the on-off switch to on. Pull the blue lever out fully. With the saw on the ground, grip from handlebar with left hand and place right foot on inside of rear hander. Pull starter rope handle with right hand until engine attempts to run. It just did that. Then push choke lever in and continue to pull rope until engine starts. So I'm going to do that. Hang on. Okay, I'm going to adjust the screws, the adjustments, the idle, blah, 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 after it warms up. I won't bring you along for that. All right, hope you enjoyed. That's how you change the carburetor on the chainsaw. A Poulan anyways. Poulan. Super clean. No big deal. There's plenty of videos out there for adjusting. All right, have a great day.